I want you to use all your powers and all your skills. I don't want his mother to see him this way. And look how they massacred my boy.
Good evening and welcome to the Joust. My name is Nagy, but I'm also joined by a very special guest this evening. It's not often that I'm welcoming a special guest. It's usually Liam McNeil joining me in side saddle. No, not the side saddle that you would often do if you're a woman, but the side saddle being the side of my saddle. It's not Liam McNeil. It's actually the man from the telly, a real Knights tragic as well as a bit of a Newcastle Rugby League wet dream, Mr. Adam Murray. Adam, welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy to be in your saddle.
Thank you very much. It's also it's a pleasure to welcome back Knights Joust alumni, I should say. Yeah,
it's been a long time.
It's been a fair few years now. 2020, I believe, was the last time that you graced the chair with your buttock.
Yeah,
both of them, and
they're very big too. Yeah. I have a resemblance of Andrew Johns. That's my only resemblance. Bar Joust.
It's a pleasure to have you back, but also a very special guest, man on the keys, Mr. Mike Cable, our special guest of this evening. Welcome, Mike. Thank you very much, Mike. Look,
is that as good as he gets?
Yeah, that's look. I tell you what, that's peak. It's only down from here. There is. It's exciting to have you back, Adam, and also often seen on what I'd refer to as the telly. And this is as far as having someone as the a Newcastle Knights online content creator.
Yeah.
It's very good to have the mainstream. Liam might even refer to as one of those mainstream media shills.
Look, I am one of those guys. I'm a huge fan of the Joust. I think I've called in a few times.
I think you might have,
Look, I just have to keep you guys in check sometimes online, but it's really good to be here today and do this face-to-face this time rather than calling on the phone.
We've welcomed you here to the Wickham Park Hotel, of course, in the Gents, our very special recording area. But the Wickham Park Hotel was also very special, Adam, to see one of the most monumental wins of the New South Wales Blues. Of course, here we're a very New South Wales Blues-orientated podcast, and it was the people that could have been there. I was unfortunately unable to attend because I had food poisoning.
Oh.
I should have. What I should have done is eaten all my food at the Wickham Park Hotel.
Did you watch the game on the toilet then?
Yeah. I tell you what, it wasn't
a shit of a game.
Yeah, it wasn't. I had to have it on the audio. I didn't. Yeah. It was I tell you what, it was a time for me that I was of great uncertainty. But what was certain in my mind that the New South Wales Blues would come through with such a monumental win.
Oh mate.
And I think it's easy to say, Adam, that let this. It's been a few days, a few weeks. Let it go. Let's stop talking about it because of all the Queensland supporters out there. I say no. This is such a monumental win from the series that we had from start to finish. And I'd love to get your perspective on what it was like from game 1 to game 3.
Look, if I'm honest, Queensland just doesn't get Origin.
I don't think so.
They really fumbled there. But yeah, game 1.
Yeah.
You got to think about it. Back then, Joseph Suaalii decides to take Reece Walsh's head off.
Yes, clean off, yeah.
But New South Wales, I thought, were the better team that night.
Yep.
Even though they got absolutely pumped. But Madge Maguire, he used his magic, and a little bit of a backstory there with Madge Maguire. He got Ray Warren to voice a 6-minute video that they played to the players. It was all about Steve Turvey Mortimer. And I think that's what got him over the line.
Of course, Steve Mortimer was the first captain, I believe, of the New South Wales Blues to win their first State of Origin victory.
1984, right. I'm thinking. Ooh. Maybe that's a stab in the dark.
And that was I think
don't quote me on that, please.
It was certainly around there. So they brought in the big guns of Ray Warren, Rabs, to come in and say to the boys, this is something going to be special. It was probably nice to see Rabs, getting that sort of rugby league work again. I thought he'd hung up the coat and the microphone. microphone.
I think he probably just does that at home majority of the time, and he just sends out like little freelance work, and he's like, "Anyone want to use it?" And then Madge is like, "Sure, I'll take it," and I would have taken it too, because what a game. Then we go to game 2, and Latrell Mitchell. How good was he in game 2? But then no Latrell.
No Latrell.
Guess who arrives? Bradman Best.
Bradman Best, the Thumb here. Big fans of both Latrell Mitchell and the Thumb here at the Joust. And it was, I tell you what, it was part of me that thought, I'd love to see Bradman on the side, and then coming in for Latrell, I'd love to see him on the other side of the field to Latrell. I'd like to see that, like those two powerhouse centers really come through with a win. But then I thought, gee, that's a lot on Bradman's shoulders.
It is.
That was a lot to go up there in Queensland, in the cauldron up there, and to come through with the win, but not without battle scars. We see there on the screen there that he did suffer an injury to his lip.
Yes.
And I think I might have been a bit selfish in my sort of cries when New South Wales were winning was stop screaming, Bradman. Stop using that. Stop tearing this lip up further up your face.
Look at that.
It was
insane. Honestly.
It was that kind of, you want to see a bit of blood on the jersey, blood on the face, but also,
it's almost ripped his cheek off.
It's clean off. It was imagining like how many stitches. I think you asked Bradman how many stitches.
I did ask Bradman the day after. I said, how many stitches did you get, mate? And he goes, I don't know. They just did it. Yeah. And you know what? I respect that. Yeah. He doesn't need to know.
You got to leave these sorts of things to medical professionals, and we've as we here at the Joust, none of us.
I think that's 5.
Yeah, it says 5. I can see.
Or is it 6?
I don't know. I think when they go across one, that I'm not.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused now.
I'm not a medical professional. Neither is Liam. Neither of yourself. I think we have to make it clear that none of us here at the Joust are medical professionals, nor that we should be accused of being. Don't take our advice medically. Ever since 2015. Cessnock City's Council v. the Joust, which we can't comment on any further. But I believe when the doctor decides to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1 stitch across, that means 5.
I believe it is. As far as when I did my multiplications in primary school.
That's right.
I think that's not how we did it.
I take you back to game 1, and after the Joseph Swiley removing the head of Reece Walsh, deep down, what chances did you give New South Wales Blues at that stage?
Not many, not much at all, if I'm honest. At that moment, I was thinking to myself, we're going to be in deep trouble here.
Deep trouble.
And, but by the time we got to the second half, I thought, okay, we're showing good signs here, and I thought we win game 2, but to win a decider at Suncorp Stadium, never easy. So there was always that doubt of like, we'll probably win game 2, but game 3 is going to be hard.
Certainly, I think an uphill battle would be, talking lightly, I think it was not only an uphill battle, but maybe an uphill underwater all shitting your pants battle, which was just all stacked against you.
And which you were doing on Wednesday night.
Absolutely. On game 3, I think I was at certain stages. I live in a very small house, so it's all right. I could still hear the television. And that carried me through. But I also like to point out, I think, a player that probably didn't get as much kudos as for the New South Wales Blues, because I never want to stop talking about this game. Never, ever.
Nor should we.
No. That it was such an important series. But Zach Lomax from the Dragons, when he was selected, I said, I was sort of in the camp of, I don't know if he's an origin player, whatever that means. And then he's almost been one of our most consistent right through.
I remember leading into the State of Origin series, Gus Gould, he always likes to try and get his fingers in some pies and tried to say that he told Freddie that don't be afraid to pick Zach Lomax. And Madge wasn't. Madge was happy to take the gamble. And Zach gets a lot of press about, obviously, the start of this season. He didn't want to be a winger.
Yep.
He wants out of the Dragons and so on. But look, he's a winger. He's a very good winger.
He's an exceptional winger that seemed to be just performing at the highest level again and again.
He's a footy player. That's what he is. He's a footy player. He knows how to play footy, and he plays it well. And he's a Temora boy as well. So country boy.
Yeah,
build him tough out there.
Now tell me where Temora is, because I don't know.
Temora is almost going down to Wagga Wagga. So they're almost in AFL territory. So, but he's a very, very tough bugger. But also Angus Crichton and Liam Martin are both from Temora. So there was 3 Temora boys.
3 Temora boys.
Yeah, that's probably a record. Temora's not that big.
No. Their strike rate is huge, apparently. I don't know what's in the water out there.
Well, Trent Barrett's from Temora too, I think.
You're kidding.
Yeah. I think they're born rugby league players out there.
They love it out there, right? Temora, a place that I'm not very familiar with, but I'm glad I'm more familiar with it right now.
Trip.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe go visit. It would be a bit of a trouble for the town of Temora now, because of course Michael Wayman was from out in the country as well, and he only appeared in about 5 Origins, but they built him a statue. They couldn't get enough of him. He only, I think, won 1 out of those 5 games, but. If you're in Temora now, and then you're in the council, and you've got a bit of money to throw around, which one of those players do you think you build a statue from?
Look, you got to go. You can't go past Angus Crichton.
I think so.
At the end of the day, he was the Wally Lewis medalist, and he was exceptional. He manhandled everyone.
It was hard to retch that Wally Lewis medal clean off the Queenslanders, because of course we remember in the 2018 series where we hadn't won one in ages, and then Billy Slater came back, won a game, lost a game, only played 2. And then they decided to give him the Wally Lewis medal. Laurie Daly was one of the judges for this. And you think, whatever system they had out there, shithouse.
I wouldn't be surprised if the judges this year were just like, we're too scared of Angus Crichton. We must give him the medal. Because when he just palmed off Gilbert in the game 2, and it was like he was a adult taking on a little boy. He's definitely a player.
It had that feeling of older brother, younger brother, backyard footy. You've got no chance in hell of ever beating him, and if you get anything past him, if he misses a tackle, you almost celebrate.
You know who I thank for all this?
Who's it?
David Fafita. Thank you, David Fafita, for backflipping or signing with the Roosters, backflipping, and you've spurred on the Blues to win. You've got the great man to be a Wally Lewis medalist.
So much of rugby league, Adam, is as you well know, is backroom politics, and having David Fafita backflip, stay with the Titans, and then which is almost the reverse Cherry Evans, because instead of going to Queensland, he remains in Queensland on the backflip, also with the Titans, but then it lights the fire under Angus Crichton, and then for some reason Queenslanders say we're not going to select him in our team. So they say now, we were the smaller side. But you had someone like David Fafita, who I believe is about 8 foot tall. And they chose not to select him for any 3 of those games.
It's incredible. Billy Slater, he copped a lot of heat this series, which obviously he got past the honeymoon phase.
Yes.
He had those 2 years, won those, and
a lot of sex.
Yeah,
that's what happens.
Yeah, that's what happens.
That's what happens in the honeymoon
riding his
phase.
horses and having a lot of sex.
Yeah.
Billy Slater, he copped some flack from the Queensland media where they get Origin.
Yeah, they do. They get
apparently they get it.
They get
but
it.
I don't think they do because Billy Slater, he made a few interesting calls, leaving David Fafita out. He left Selwyn Cobbo out of game 2, brought him back.
He left the media out of game 3. He was cancelling press conferences and saying there's only player 1 and player 2 that can talk to them.
Don't do that to the media, mate.
Don't do that.
We'll come after you.
No, they're going to be angry. And so he left his cards all on the table. I don't know how to gamble. Is that what you do? And then he kept him close to his chest. That's how you do it.
Yep.
But he was bluffing the whole time, apparently.
Well, he made, he changed his whole front row before game 3.
Well, that's right. Yeah. All these sneaky changes. They said, no, Felice Kafusi, he's going to start on the bench.
What he's doing with his hair?
Oh, we don't know.
Can someone please get him to a proper barber?
He seems to have made it his thing now, which is just this orb on the back. It's like a monk.
Maybe you just can't grow hair on top.
It's I guess it's a reverse monk, because instead of having the monk where you haven't got hair at the back, a bit of a Devon patch, which rather than he's just got hair there. That's the only place he has there in the Devon patch.
Honestly, every time I see him, I'm like, why have you not changed that? That is insane. That's one of the and it's not even that thick.
No,
it's very thin. But he's got dark hair and it's just visible enough. Man.
Also, he only managed.
I'm so outraged by that.
I think so.
That's the only reason I'm on the show today. I had to get my point across.
Who's stonewalling the Felice Kafusi investigation regarding his hair?
Wayne Bennett. Surely he does. I've heard that Wayne Bennett doesn't like people who bleach their hair and so on. How was he still playing?
It's a big question. Maybe he's only ever looking at Wayne directly in the face.
Yeah.
And Wayne's never seeing
You
when
make a
he
very good
turns
point
his
there.
head. He has to work out where the camera is, of course, when he's playing, and then has to angle his head constantly up, looking away from the players that he's tackling. But then he just manages to continue on with this terrible hairstyle. With Wayne, he's a hard taskmaster. He's not going to let some full heart get away with a ridiculous haircut, a bit of a look at me haircut, if you will.
It's definitely look at me.
Look at me, yeah. Look at me, and then look away. I mean,
Sideburns.
shave those sideburns. Who was it that was in charge of shaving the sideburns? Yeah, and then Mr. Burns shaved the sideburns for the player.
Do we baseball player that I'll never remember.
Sam, you should remember the baseball player of the night.
Come on, Sam. Honestly.
Now, Adam, I don't want to take you into deep water here, but it's a very special segment. It's something you might not be familiar with, but it's actually time for the news.
I don't even know what
Dun, dun, dun.
Thank you very much, Sam, and Adam for jumping in there for the baritones.
The great man. The great man.
Did you ever work with Mike Rapit there?
No. He is my Instagram profile picture, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, following in his footsteps, hopefully.
That's right.
Never will. He's a great man.
Does he still come into NBN, maybe get his hair cut or something?
No, I don't get my hair cut there. Drover's Barbershop, Adamstown. Very, very good. But yeah, no, the Rabs, he's a good man.
Picture on the wall, maybe? Car
Actually,
park for him, maybe.
You make a great point.
Yeah.
He's not seen enough at NBN at the moment.
Where is NBN in this? Because they used to be right there in the heart of Newcastle. They've moved studios. Where is it?
Yeah, we're in Honeysuckle now.
Honeysuckle.
Yeah.
Again, another place that's hard to park. Would it be wrong to say Mike Rapit should have his own car park?
Yeah, I'll vote. I'll vote for it.
I'm just saying, car park. They're at a premium these days.
He's probably listening right now. He's in total agreement.
Oh, he's a big fan of the show,
Huge
Mike
fan.
Rapit. Yeah. There's interesting things happening in the news, Adam, and I think the most interesting thing that was by the an article that came out of the Herald, which was saying that there's a push by the council to see if maybe Newcastle Knights legends should have their own street names, street signs, things that are dedicated to them. Sure, we can't build a statue for the I was going to say the late great Andrew Johns. He's still with us.
Yes.
If he's in spirit, but especially including the female players that are just coming fresh off two premierships. You know, this should we make more of an integration of the Newcastle Knights around the Newcastle scene when you're driving around lost looking for a car park.
Absolutely, I'm all for a grants and that. What would you say your street would be? Like, obviously, I'm trying to think of my street. You can't go past George Carmont.
George Carmont, maybe.
George Carmont.
Would you say a crescent, a drive, an avenue? This is it's always bothered me to say what is which is what. Is there an avenue? Is there a drive?
What's the difference?
I don't know. I was hoping you as a very learned man might have.
I'm just a sport man. Just a sport man. Don't know anything else other than sport.
I think George Carmont is more of a crescent.
Robbie Rocco Street.
Robbie Rocco Street. Yeah. Now I like these sort of forgotten nights. A lot of people will go straight to the Kennedy Drives or the Andrew Johns. What
about coaches?
I think Andrew Johns should be something that's pretty fast.
What about coaches? What about Rick Stone?
Oh, I like
Rick
that.
Stone Street.
Rick Stone, Stone Street.
Stone Street.
And then, of course, there's Brian Carney Crescent, maybe Mark Tafua Circuit. But I always think that Ivan Tumavave sounds like a roundabout because his name sort of goes around. You don't know really where it finishes. Maybe even Mapapalangi is a bit of a roundabout because he sort of start the name, finish the name, start it again.
That could, Well, if the Jesmond roundabout didn't disappear, that's where you'd name it.
Potentially, we've got an idea of having the idea of maybe players that have left the club on the way out of Newcastle, and the players that have stayed in the club and then staying within. But and then if it all goes to shit, there's always the Milton Thaiday Highway. Which is one way out of town.
Well, you could almost say it about some of the boys who've been tapped on the shoulder. They might get the highway out of town as well.
We've got this a very interesting thing happening now with the Newcastle Knights, that there has been a bit of a call from Buzz Rothfield. Buzz, which he's come out and said that there's been a bit of a turn on the coach, AOB. He's losing the dressing room, which is a classic way of saying that there's a bit of an uproar. And even though his original quote was, he thinks they're losing it a bit, which was a bit of an interesting way to approach it.
I don't know where Buzz is getting his information from, but he's definitely having a stab in the dark, it seems.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit off the coach, but from what I've seen, not off the coach at the moment, I don't think.
Possibly players that are on their way out that might be off the coach, which I think is pretty a natural reaction.
Pissed, wouldn't you?
If you've just been heard that you might be sacked, I would be off my employer too.
Me too. You've got 3 months to find somewhere else to go.
Yeah,
but you've got to stay here though, just for this time.
Just for this time. They say, Jack Hetherington, look, we've named a street after you, but that street actually is adjacent to the car park, which I think you're familiar with if you can find your way there in the next few weeks. Turned on the coach a little bit is not really like a huge indictment from, I think Buzz earlier in the season may have said Lachlan Galvin was walking, apparently as an 18-year-old, walking around the dressing rooms of the Tigers saying, I can't wait to get out of this joint, mere days before he re-signed with the joint. So I'm not sure if this is levers being pulled down. Behind the scenes there. Is this just the media with the club is saying, we'll pull this lever if you pull mine?
Well, it's almost like last time there was a Knights buy. I think there was a similar story that came out. So it really seems to pop up when there's Knights who are heading into a buy. So I don't know. I don't think we can read too much into it. But as we have said, you would be pissed if you were one of those players who've been tapped on the shoulder. Peter O'Sullivan's come in and gone, this cap's a mess.
Apparently it's in not a good state. And, I think being supporters, we're just a little bit curious to know, how bad is the cap? Of course, we've got Nathan Brown's wife, Mrs. Brown there, with her buttered chicken, which we used to attract players in. Now, the same buttered chicken is forcing these players out.
Yeah. Did you have the buttered chicken on Wednesday night?
Yeah, possibly. It was the thing that was forcing it all out of me was the buttered chicken. It was an Indian dish. I didn't check behind the kitchen, but it might have been Mrs. Brown there serving up not only a delicious Indian meal, but a bit of revenge served cold. But it was actually spicy as well. Now, we'll jump over the pond here, Adam, and the interesting thing is happening for the proposal of the Papua New Guinea team. And how would you convince a bunch of, mainly Eastern Coast lads that enjoy sort of the latte-sipping, club-going high lives, if you will, of the Eastern Coast of Australia, and say, hey, have you considered Port Moresby?
Look, I just do not know how you even possibly do that. I even heard, I think it was Justin Olam, who's from Papua New Guinea. He said he doesn't want to go back and play there.
He doesn't.
So I don't know. I don't know Peter Volandis. I think maybe that's like, maybe we shouldn't do that.
They've dangled a bit of a carrot and they've said, what about tax breaks? Now, obviously, Australia, if you earn a lot of money, you get taxed a lot of money.
Yes. And football players like their money.
They like money. I think it'd be clear to say they're all money motivated. I don't, Adam. How much of your wage would you be willing to not sacrifice the tax, but put it back in your pocket if you could get over there into the classic coastal area of New Britain, Papua New Guinea?
Yeah, New Britain. Hey, look, you could do day trips to the Solomon Islands, New Ireland as well.
New Ireland, yeah,
it's got it all.
I'm sure.
Actually, you know what? Yeah. I'd play for Papua New Guinea. Like I can play. I've got a jersey.
That's right. You got to get over there. Look, they've just got to try to attract some players to WeWack. I'm sure it's just as good as
think of all the samurais in Samurai.
Yeah, I think there might still be a couple of samurais in Samurai. Samurai in Port Stephens was actually a nudist beach. I wonder if that's well, I'm not sure.
Actually, I've got a story about one of our camos who went there to shoot a whale and didn't realise it was a nudist beach. He also saw a whale and another whale. He saw an extra whale that he wasn't meant to see.
Is it like when you go into these interesting areas filming things? Do you have there's a cultural appropriation? Is it kit off or is it kit on? It
was kit off on that day on that beach. I know I wasn't there. I've heard, but Yeah, it was quite a story.
Very close to, if we look at the map there, very close to Australia, Papua New Guinea. I think
Cape York's just there.
it's right there. There's Cape York, Port Moresby. It's probably share. If you could go over on a boat.
A lot of 4-wheel driving.
Ford. You could get maybe
Take your Isuzu D-Max.
Maybe if you
replay.
It's one bridge away, really. If you're looking at it like that, you could be back on Australian mainland. It's going to be an interesting proposition.
Maybe that's part of the deal.
That's it.
Maybe Albo is like, I'll give you some money in Peter Valiers. We want a bridge.
We want a bridge. Get us a bridge. We want a bridge and a stadium.
Yeah.
Would you think Channel 9 and all the affiliates be willing to go over to Port Moresby on a weekly basis?
If they're not, I will. I'll do it. I'm they're scraping at the barrel when they get to me, but I'll do it. Yeah.
Excellent.
I'm happily to. I'll be the main commentator, the sideline commentator, whatever you need.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, we look forward to see. Obviously, the guys over there are playing, a very interesting game.
They do love their football over there.
They love their football, a national sport over there. 7 million people itching for it. We're going to have a halftime break, Adam, and we're going to have Mike Cable over there play us out for our halftime. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike Cable. Welcome back to the second half of the Joust now, Adam.
He's gotten better.
He's on fire. There is a game that happened that I was excited going in against Brisbane. Yeah. I thought with the likes of Bradman, with the likes of Gagai and Ponga, I thought, hang on a second, we might be within a shot here. Now, I do have some Broncos demons in my head. It was always a tough game welcoming into Newcastle. They've always been sort of that top of the table, top of the pile, if you will. How was your confidence going into this?
I think I was very similar to you, to be honest. So, the Broncos had lost 6 in a row before this one, and then you
Doldrums,
and then you think, all the Night Stars are back, but Adam Reynolds was back for the Broncos, and that made me a little bit nervous, but yeah, what a dog shit of a game.
We've certainly been sort of fortunate with a lot of injuries to a lot of teams that we've been coming up against, that they've been missing players and whatnot, and we were getting our players back. But it was certainly didn't. When I heard Adam Reynolds was coming back, I thought maybe he's just going to be a bit, half-assed, half-armed, if you will, and not wanting to commit. But he certainly provided that steady hand with his good hand of the kind of halfback that's why they've signed him, because they do look a bit, like a bit of a cut snake without him.
Isn't he also the coach? Wasn't it when he first started that Kevin Walters wasn't the coach? Someone said that, didn't he?
Tyson Gamble said that actually.
Tyson Gamble said
on his way out of Brisbane. They named a street after him. Yeah. And they said, "There's the car park on your way." And then he said on a podcast, "Hey, he's not really the coach. Adam Reynolds the coach." That hurt Brisbane a lot. But they went on to make the grand final. Choked very hard.
If you look very closely, they're going off track here at the moment, but if you look very close with the Nathan Cleary try, I'm sitting on the sideline going off, and it's on the 9 promos all the time.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. Well, it was a very exciting grand final.
Yeah, mate, I was jumping for joy. Everyone else was just sitting there, and then I realised I'm in a work capacity. I need to sit down, and now I'm in every promo. That's my claim to fame.
Keep your eyes out for Adam Murray there.
It'll pop up at grand final time.
Going ballistic. It might have even been Pom's shot that he took.
It could have been.
They call it the NBN handshake.
It's normally a very sloppy one.
A very sloppy one. It's there is there's some music playing, but there is it's Sass music. Look, it was a game that when I finished watching it, I thought, well, Newcastle Knights just completely shit the bed there. They were down at 18 points to nil at one stage. Yeah. But looking at the stats now, if we slide back one, we had more possession, more time in possession, 77% completion rate, which I didn't think was possible after the first half, which seemed to drop every other ball.
Yeah. It looked like, you look at that and you think it'd be a very close game, like less than 2 points in it, but But I think Adam O'Brien said it best in the press conference after the game. He's like, they burnt all the energy and weren't patient with the football.
Weren't patient. That's a very, very friendly way to put it. Now, also, I like to go on to the Facebooks and the Instagrams and all those social pipes and see that lots of people are very upset with Adam O'Brien's sort of press conference. So they sort of said, "Oh, he stabbed us in the back, and what he'd given us there was nothing." It seemed pretty what we have come to expect from AOB.
It was a pretty standard AOB press conference, if I'm honest, and I don't think it. I think everyone was just a little bit upset after that loss, including myself. I didn't make any comments, but
As a Knights fan, are you in the media pack with when they do the press conferences?
Yeah, sometimes I'm there. Yeah.
Is it hard when there has been a disappointing loss, or even a tight loss, or something that's just like it's fallen through the fingers of a win and been snatched by defeat? Is it hard not to show your emotions?
It's extremely hard. I always sit there and I just like go, it's all right, boys. Like, you should try. And it's everyone else is asking these hard questions. Like, boys, they've just lost.
Throw
leave
them
alone.
Yeah.
But it is very difficult being a avid Knights fan, and I was a Knights fan before I even started covering the Knights. So I've been a Knights fan since day one. So.
Is there maybe a temptation to throw them a softball to say, hey, how was your day before the game? Or hey, look, the sun's shining and the beach is right there.
Weather's looking good.
The
next
weather's
week.
looking great. Try to get the mood back and say.
Sometimes they need that. Sometimes they get hit too hard, and you just need to lift them back up. But.
Is Adam O'Brien's interview style? I always find Adam O'Brien a little bit because he does what I like to call open eyes, closed eyes, which he'll accept the question from across the room and then begin the squint. And if someone does that to me when I'm talking to them, I become very on edge.
Don't worry, I've been on edge a few times. Well, it was a nice question.
And look at him, we're not attacking you. But as we said before, there's a lot of pressure on Adam O'Brien.
Yeah.
Would looking at the coaching landscape, would you think there is another possibility for the Newcastle Knights? Is there anyone out there that you think, oh, gee, I wish they were coaching this current coach now?
At the moment, I don't see anyone else taking Adam O'Brien. I don't think I see Wes or Peter Parr
letting him go.
Yeah, letting him go. I think at the moment they've stuck strong. They signed him for another 3 years.
Another 3 years,
and there is a good crop of young boys coming through at the moment, and I feel like we're going to see the benefits of that in the next few years, and I think that'll be the real test for Adam O'Brien to see if he can get those boys firing at NRL level.
An unsolicited question, Adam: has there been anyone from the Newcastle Rugby League, the real NRL, if you will? Is there anyone that really tickles your fancy? You see, hey, I could see that guy in a Knights jersey in the next couple of years.
That's a good little question, that one. I really like Luke Huff.
Luke Huff. Who's he play for?
He plays for the Cessnock Goannas.
Yeah.
Or even Mitch Black. There's two great dummy halves. Mitch Black's at South.
Yep.
But yeah, Luke Huff, he was part of the Knights system back in the day, and now out at Cessnock, got a fantastic mullet.
Oh, wonderful. That's
fantastic.
Great.
Luscious locks, as I said one night on NBN News.
Fletcher Sharp and himself can also maybe discuss barbers or
there's a lot of Newcastle Rugby League talent out there that could be playing for the Knights, that's for sure.
I certainly think within the disappointment of obviously finishing 5th last year and then sitting 13th currently, we're not going to finish there hopefully, but one of the players that has excited me of coming through the system is Dylan Lucas. What are your thoughts on Dylan?
Dylan Lucas. I'll tell you a little story. I was talking to Andrew Bobcat Ryan, who still coaches South, and he was mentioning him about Dylan Lucas when in 2020, during the COVID year, Dylan Lucas played for South.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Which is a Lockie Fitzgibbon home ground, of course. Yeah.
It was in that period where there was no jersey flag, there was no reserve grade, so a lot of the players had to go to Newcastle Rugby League.
Go back to clubland.
Yeah, go back to clubland. And I remember doing an interview at Townsend Oval with the great Andrew Bobcat Ryan, Dylan Lucas doing extras just training at Townsend Oval, and he pointed over to me and he goes, he's going to play NRL one day, mark my words.
Really?
And
Bobcat?
he was right. Yeah,
right,
Andrew Bobcat Ryan. If he told me anything, I'd be like, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
He was
Dubbo boy as well.
Oh, really?
Bred
Another
up
guy
out
from
there.
the country.
Yeah.
Oh, I tell you what, a lot of rugby leagues out there in the West, they bring them out to the coast, but the real talent is really fostered out in the West.
So Dylan Lucas, I saw it coming since 2020.
No, that's
Yeah.
that's good. And cause he had an interesting start to his career because he even in
Was
the
a
lower
centre.
grades, centre.
Yeah.
I think he played a bit of the wing,
A bit of a
possibly.
wing, bit of
Yeah.
centre.
and
I
and
think he scored 4 tries one day at centre against the Rabbitohs at ANZ Stadium. That's a really weird fact in reserve grade, but it was still in my head.
Yeah. So-
I don't know why that happens.
Yeah.
My wife constantly says, you need to seek help.
call your psych.
Yeah.
Tell them about the 4
It's a
tries.
weird encyclopedia of rugby league in my head.
Speaking of Dylan Lucas, ladies and gentlemen, it's tonight time for the Tonight's hats off for this round.
Hats off. Hats off. Hats off. Hats off.
And it's no secret that the hats off for this week for myself is the very same Dylan Lucas. Now he has come into this side as a back rower with losing Lockie Fitzgibbon last year. We haven't really lost him. We sort of let him go again. We said your time has come. He's gone over there to Warrington. But not only has he played exceptionally at back row, but often found himself in centre.
Yeah.
Which is he's made it look as easy as he has. You'd think that is a general transition, and quite often, you have a centre that gets a bit old, a Chris Lawrence style, and then they move to the back row because they just get a bit slow. But Dylan Lucas is sort of found himself as a very prominent back rower. Have you had an opportunity to chat to Dylan off the field? I haven't heard him speak before.
He's a bit of a quiet cat off the field.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dylan Lucas, he's definitely worked hard, because there was a point there where he was the centre and then he bulked up in one preseason. I said to him, mate, where'd you get those guns from?
Yeah.
It was
them away.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dylan Lucas, he's just full of beans.
Yeah.
And I like it. He's like the Tamora boys. They're just footballers.
Yeah.
He's a South Coast boy, so you can almost say he's like Wollongong. He's almost Newcastle.
Almost. Well, Wollongong and Newcastle have always had a bit of a weird partnership.
Yeah.
We're both in the industrial towns, not Sydney, famously not Sydney.
Dylan Lucas. He's just one of those. He's just happy to do his work, and he's a tough old bugger. So yeah, I really like him.
Now, your eye caught another player that's often also not originally from Newcastle, but we've accepted him as his own. What was your hats off for this week, Adam?
The great Phoenix Crossland, or Phoenix Peden, as sometimes we like to call him. He goes out with Billy Peden's daughter. So
he goes out with Billy Peden's daughter.
Yeah.
How old's Billy Peden?
He doesn't go out with Billy Peden.
No, but like his daughter.
Yeah.
I'm surprised to see that he's that.
check.
But we'll have that check. Not to say that potentially Billy Peden's daughter's too young. I'm just saying that it's surprising because Billy Peden's still at the forefront of my mind. We had him on a few years ago. It seems like
He's
might
a
have.
great man too.
He's 54. Okay, he can have a daughter. That's probably the age. The exact
You can
same
have a daughter.
age.
You can have a daughter, Billy.
The exact same age as Phoenix Crossland. Like Phoenix, I think there was. From 2023 last year, obviously there was his breakthrough season as a hooker as we say here, and then we thought, well, can he repeat it? And it's only taken probably only half of this year that we saw Phoenix Crossland become our preferred 9 over Jaden Brayley.
Yeah, I didn't think that day was going to come. I thought they were going to be fair. I'd say Jaden Brayley was always going to be ahead of him, but Phoenix Crossland, he's just got he aimed up. He was probably one of those ones. Only a few that really aimed up against the Broncos, and as Adam O'Brien's always said, he always leads the defensive line and is happy to take those big hits. And I think he got knocked out by Mike Acevo doing that one time.
He certainly did.
But look, that's going to happen.
puts his body on the line, much like our very own Danny Badiris here, sitting in front there, immortalised in a very, very small statue.
Well, Danny Badiris was one of them who said maybe you should have a go at 9. So and also Danny did the same thing. He was a halfback back in the day.
He was a terrible halfback back in the day.
A fantastic dummy half, though.
And a fantastic dummy half. It was a great journey to see Phoenix sort of find the number 9 out of necessity, but then carry it through to say, no, it wasn't just a one-season wonder. It wasn't just someone that was a part of a good team and carried by momentum. No. I'm going to make this position my own, and I think it's great to see someone come through the ranks, even though I think he's from New Zealand originally.
Yeah, Central Coast boy as well.
Oh well,
yeah.
that's wonderful. That's wonderful.
So, we'll claim him.
That's right. Hey, look, we've got such a large catchment area. I think anyone from the Central Coast of Taree, if you're on this side of the Hawkesbury or you're on this side of Wingham, we're going to claim you as our own. And and Phoenix has been a great cap. Speaking of caps, so Adam, it's also a time where we've taken our hat off. We must return the hat to the head with this week's Hats Back On.
Hats on. Hats on. Hats on. Hats on. Hats on.
Thank you very much, Mike Cable.
Oh my God, he's getting so much better.
Yeah.
That insult at the start has really fired him up.
I like the reverse.
I should be a coach.
There is a play, unfortunately, that we don't like talking badly about the Newcastle Knights, Adam, here at the Joust. But there was someone that stood out and probably playing out of position, but also been asked to do a lot in the last 2 weeks. But Christian Mappa Papalangi doesn't seem to be finding his feet in first grade. He came out a few weeks ago, possibly with an interview from himself, saying that he wants to play more first grade.
Yeah.
And it hasn't seemed to found that kind of first grade form that has been touted for now many years. Was it correct in saying that he was an Australian touch football player? Was that right?
Yeah, you're probably right. I'm not 100% sure, but he was. Yeah, I remember when he first came through. And he played those 2 games back in, was it 2021?
About that, yeah.
And he just lit the competition on fire, and then he had that really bad injury. But yeah, to come back into the side as well, it's always a hard task to play out of position. You're not playing in the first grade side very often, and then everyone expects you just to be there. But yeah, it wasn't his best performance. I'm sure he'll agree.
I think both last week and the week before, he's struggled for form, coming up against some very good outside backs, and I think looking at the Newcastle Knights, we've really struggled for genuine pace, and I think having that extra 5% pace, they can actually beat people in a chase and whatnot. We can show how much it means, because Bradman is absolute lightning in the last few years. He's big and he's strong and he's fast.
Yeah.
And you take him out of the side, of course. With the Brisbane Broncos, we lost Bradman in the first 10 minutes to a lower groin injury, which is only just slightly lower groin, being a hamstring.
It's quite a low groin.
And around the same time, we lost Tyson Gamble to a HIA, so we were 2 men sort of short, which he really need to rely on.
Is that a high groin injury?
A high groin. The highest of groins is a HIA. Yeah. It was interesting to see how they would adjust, and obviously Dylan Lucas going in there besides Greg the Bus, Greg Marju it becomes a very sort of a slow NRL side there, a wing, if you will, an entire wing.
I think Blocker actually said in commentary on Fox, he said that the Knights have got the slowest backline and probably the slowest forward pack, so maybe we're the slowest team in the NRL.
We certainly have the slowest halfback, I think, in Jackson Hastings, who I've said for the last few weeks, he might be the slowest, but he's probably the fittest of the Newcastle Knights. He certainly gets involved a lot.
He does.
And commands a lot of the ball, which I enjoy. I think a halfback that can really take ownership over a side is such important, and really it's hard to find, because we will hear, why don't we put a young fellow up and give him the 7? terribly hard job to tell if you're an 18-year-old 7 to shout at a 30-year-old prop and say, why don't you do this and do that? And hey, Tyson Frizzell, I know that you've done everything in the game, and but why do you do this? And it's like you need a bit of what we like to say here at the Joust, as my mother always said, you need a bit of cunt in you. And
My mother never said that to me.
And I think Jackson Hastings has that, despite, obviously having half of Bunnings screwed into one of his leg. And you understand why
He's got a trade pass.
Yeah, absolutely. If you go into Bunnings, you go in the customer section, and they say, no, you have to go down to trades. He walks through the metal detector at Bunnings, and they say, no, you're in trades, mate. You have to go down and speak to them. I know you're only buying a hose, but that's the area that you need to speak to with the amount of merchandise that you have cemented into your body, and your lower groin being a leg that you've broken several times, and we keep repairing it purely with metal.
Yeah.
But he's a fit man, and I still think he has plenty to offer the Newcastle Knights. However, I think the 5/8 partnership is someone that he's had to juggle with throughout the entire season.
Yeah.
We also saw Tyson Gamble come back. This is Tyson responsibly. And that was a very, very late change coming off the extended bench. Were you expecting Tyson to come back?
I was expecting him to come back. There was a point there at training where we could turn up and Gamble was just on the side, and then you always think to yourself, "Oh, he wasn't training in front of the cameras, just to try and keep it on the down low." The guys came back, and I was like, "I think he's playing."
He's coming.
Normally, if he wasn't training, it's like, yeah, they're hiding something there. But I thought he brought a bit of X factor in Tyson Gamble. He's a competitor. He's a footballer.
I think he's certainly a footballer. I think he's got a certain size to him at a number 6 that demands a bit of respect from the defence, and he likes to sort of chance his arm when we've got ascendancy, when we've got the ball. I think it's something that we've lacked in the last 8 to 10 weeks that we've had without him. Even with the Will Prices, who's got the pace, but the Jack Cogger, who doesn't have the pace, and to really test the line, you sort of want a big guy that probably could be playing 13, coming in and having those ball skills. And I thought the last 15 minutes of the game was our best.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's probably one thing the Knights need to walk away from it and go, well, we played the last 15 minutes pretty well. But, Tyson Gamble, I think it'd be better for the run. Sometimes
the last 15 minutes, even though it's a flogging, is better than the first 15 minutes. The Titans-Manly game also last week, they saw that the Titans best time of the first 15 minutes, and then they also lost 30 points to 8. So it was, it's not something that even though it hurts to be gaining ascendancy at the end of the game, it sort of leads into the next game feeling a little bit more confident than if it all just went to shit after the first 12.
And now they're on the bye.
So now we got the bye, the Marcus, the bye.
Bye. Apparently they're making a comeback, NSYNC.
Which one? Oh, NSYNC, is it?
Yeah,
NSYNC.
apparently.
I didn't know. I couldn't remember if them or the Backstreet Boys, or there's probably another one.
One
Five.
Direction.
Remember Five had a...
Wasn't Robbie Williams in one of them too?
Boys,
Take that, I believe.
Take that. Thank you very
go.
much. Thank you.
See, I'm a big Robbie Williams fan. I don't know. Good doc on Netflix.
Won't hold that against you. Now there is the bye that's coming ahead of us, which will bring us to 22 points guaranteed. We're probably going to jump probably the Raiders, Broncos if they lose. Might be even with the Raiders sitting on 10th. It doesn't seem that dire when we start to look at a guaranteed 2 points. As long as we can back it up, it's a tight.
Ooh, that for and against. Ooh.
That's something that certainly has hurt us over the last few weeks. We're working our way back up to 0 on the for and against. 0 seemed like something we could grasp, and then conceding the amount of points we have in the last 2 weeks, it has hurt us and thrown us back down there.
I think my only concern is the run home's all right, but you got to look at those teams that are ahead of the Knights on the ladder.
Yeah,
they're all starting to hit form. So the Knights need to hit form as well.
It's a dangerous time to be, chasing a spot in the 8 with the top 4 basically cemented. So we're really chasing possibly 2 or 3 positions, assuming that a team within that sort of bottom top 4, stay with me, so you got the top 4.
I'm just trying to picture it in my head. Keep
bottom
going.
top 4, the Sea Eagles, the Bulldogs, the Dolphins,
That's
the Cowboys.
Better.
We're really hoping that they are on the way down while we're on the way up. and Seagulls on that giving the draw as well, and 25 points. Separates us from basically we need 3 wins to even. Get up there amongst them. Looking at the run home, though, Adam, we got the.
Yes.
Don't worry, no one needs to panic. Don't panic, Mr. Mannering. We have the Penrith Panthers at Penrith. Now, of course, we've already welcomed Adam Reynolds back to the NRL, but Nathan Cleary, the best player in the entire world, has decided to come back as well, kicking that 40-metre field goal against the Dolphins with ease.
And they rested all their Origin stars.
Oh yeah, of course they could. Yeah, they can do what they like up there. Yeah, when you're at the top of the pile, it's just everything seems easy peasy. Touch my kneesies. Now going a bit. Going beyond. Oh no! Going beyond Penrith in round 23, we've got the West Tigers, a team that will be desperate, but is also struggling for form.
They feel like they're starting to hit gear, though, with attack.
Something is, Lachlan Galvin just seems like he's the young gun that with nothing to lose, and obviously they can't make the finals anymore, but they're playing for pride, and God, I hate playing teams that are playing for pride because they have so much emotion in it.
Yeah.
And they've no
that pride.
They have no self-doubt. They don't care. They really just want to be scoring tries. Every try is a goal for a team playing for pride, and also goals. Tries and goals are goals. Do you think we have a Buckley's against the Sharks in round 24?
Well, that'll be the other thing as well. Nico Hines, see how he's going at that time of the year. They had a bit of a slippery slope there the last couple of weeks, but you got to if they beat the Sharks, there's a chance there. But the Rabbitohs. I tell you what, they're starting to just...
they're on the up.
Up a little
Latrell
bit.
will probably be welcomed back. We seem to be the club that welcomes back the big star before we play them, so Latrell will probably be looking for an opportunity there against the Knights. Also, all these teams are looking at the Knights at the moment and think that's a winnable team.
Yes.
That's a winnable game. We've got to look at... potentially, there's 2 games that we can lose out of these 6. The Panthers... is going to be a tough one, and then we have the last 5 that we can afford to lose 1. So we don't have the worst run home in the world.
That looks nice.
Yeah, the win. We just need to put the wins next to the teams, and all of a sudden, hey, we're there right there in the finals with 32 points. But also, this interesting one is the Dolphins, because I'm hoping that Wayne Bennett will basically be not showing up for work anymore. He will basically
Christian Wolf is just doing it now.
He'll be Christian Wolf in there. Wayne Bennett will already be at South City. They'll look up the coach's box. It will just have a big sign saying vacant. And Christian Wolf will be tearing it down and rubbing off the sticky tape. And that would be a golden opportunity for the Newcastle Knights to beat a team which is probably at that point still going to be in the top 8. But exciting opportunity for us if we can. If we can get up there, where do you see the Newcastle Knights finishing this season? You can give a best case, worst case scenario, or somewhere in the middle.
Best case, it's definitely playing finals. If we get all those W's, that would be fantastic. That's definitely best case. But yeah, there's after showing the signs they did against the Broncos, I'm a bit concerned. I don't see the top 8, but I hope they're listening and that fires them up, and I am the reason they make the top 8. But yeah, it's going to be pretty hard. I can't see the same form that they produced this time last year.
This time last year was a special time. Yeah.
Hey, who knows? They can change my mind. Callum Ponga can do good things. So
he can do wonderful things. And I'm really hoping that he continues to do wonderful things. 13th is a bit of we're at the bottom of the push, and
it could either go either way. They could really slump. They could go even further down. That's the worst case scenario. But I didn't want to bring that up.
No, we don't want to be watching the game out at Penrith. It's too far to go. The train is horrible, and there's horrible people that live out there. But you can watch it at the Wickham Park Hotel in a couple of weeks. You'd be watching the Wickham Park Hotel. It's just watching it with Newcastle Knights supporters and making sure that Newcastle supporters are around you, and then when we beat the Penrith Panthers, it's a magical win, just like they did against the Blues against the Maroons. If you like us, you can also find us on SoundCloud, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, TikTok, all those social pipes. Adam Murray, it's been an absolute pleasure to chat footy with you, and
Loved it.
I hope that I'll welcome you back sometime soon. Thank you very much.
Anytime, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much. And to play us out, we've got Mike Cable. Thank you very much, Justice. We'll be
Cable.
seeing you next
More
week.
cable.